When I think of home for me, this is the house. It was a great community. Everybody knew everybody else. Went to the same schools and the same churches. Parents worked together, either at Liggett or the American. There was the lady on the porch who would call your mother if she saw you do something wrong. So when I think about my formative years, this is it right here.
This area, when I was growing up, was a bit challenging. I decided to stay because I was always told home is where the heart is, and East Durham has always been my home, and my heart is here in East Durham.
I was born in 1960, and I've seen Durham from then to now.
You didn't see a lot of home ownership going around in East Durham because East Durham per se was not a community that a lot of people would like to live in.
There were vacant, boarded houses. That was the norm. And we said, we don't want that to be the norm anymore. We want it to be a neighborhood where people choose to live.
Not only are we helping an individual family with homeownership, we're transforming blocks and we're transforming neighborhoods and we're transforming our city as we do that.
We moved over here 48 years ago. I've seen a lot go and come here.
I had looked at the boarded up house for years. I would always drive by to see if someone had bought it and fixed it up. And I was just thrilled that Habitat had it and it was going to be restored.
When they first started, I thought, there's no way that they're going to, improve that place. It can't be, because it was in a mess.
This thing was full of ductwork, dead cats, garbage cans. We put people in Tyvek suits, masks, and just got the eagerest volunteers and said, go for it. And they went in there, and within 3 hours, this place was just looking great.
It was amazing.
I didn't think it had no potentials at first. I couldn't see it. But once I walked through this door, it was like, I know this is where I'm supposed to be.
It's almost like you're doing your surgery. You peel back the layers and you figure out what's going wrong, and then you find a way to stitch it back together.
The skills that so many people have and their time that they give, it's an amazing group of people.
You got your volunteers from corporate, you got your church people, students.
They volunteered, the young, the old, the middle-aged, the people that had to have walking canes sometime, come over there and work.
Habitat homeowners across the board are hardworking people. It's just a remarkable story that these people have. Each story is powerful.
A single father, 2 kids, it was far the thought that I would own a Habitat home.
And on top of that, they find the time to go out and spend hour after hour every week building on their house.
Working 2 jobs, building Habitat houses on the weekend, during the week.
Our donors get to know them, our volunteer labor force gets to know them. Those relationships are long-lasting relationships. They'll see each other in the grocery store or maybe at a restaurant afterwards, and they still know each other because they banged nails together on a Habitat home together. It's just a fantastic model all the way around.
If you get the opportunity, it is something that you will never forget all your life. It's an experience.
It's about giving this place new life.
It builds hope.
Things are turning around, things are looking up. There's another sign of hope, there's another sign of stability.
The difference now in East Durham and the difference, let's say, 10 years ago is astonishing.
When Habitat comes in, the problems goes out.
The crime rate has went down, the streets are a lot cleaner, and there's a wider sense of community.
Because you got so much good in there, the bad ain't got nowhere to go. The bad is in the street. And he don't want to be nowhere like that. He leaves. He got to find him a bad neighborhood. So that's what Habitat does. It pushes the bad out.
And that's what Habitat is about, is building community. It's helping families stabilize.
If I know Habitat is in the neighborhood, I know it's gonna be a change coming. You know what kind of people you have surrounding you. Good families that someone trying to have something in life, try to build something.
We found this place because Angie had built the 5 houses up the street.
I was the construction supervisor. Sometimes you'd show up and all the electrical would be cut. Sometimes the windows would be busted, ladders would be taken, The container would be broken into, all the tools gone. At the same time, I loved it, and I loved being a part of the neighborhood being built up. And at the end of all that, I couldn't leave, so I wanted to move here. I knew by the time that the Habitat homeowners had moved in that this was a safe neighborhood, and I was ready to live right next door.
It started with Habitat up the street, it continued with Golden Belt across the street, and now families have moved in, and now there are lots of new kids running around the neighborhood, and it really is something completely different than it was even 5 years ago.
Raising kids for me in this community is great.
I could see a difference in my kids now that we have purchased this home.
I've seen a big improvement in my kids, more positivity. They tried to upkeep the home better than they did when we were renting.
We was in an apartment, and you know, you always tell the kids, you gotta be quiet, because you got neighbors downstairs, you can't run. And now they runs through here and back and forth from the front yard to the backyard, and they're just the happiest kids you ever want to meet. Just to be able to have something that they can call their own.
That's what the whole process was about. Leaving them son a start on life, what everybody else wanted. Not paying rent, high rent, but owning your own home.
I'm so happy that there's a family in here now, and with a loving parent.
And it's just so wonderful to be able to meet someone that grew up in the home that I'm trying to make for me and my kids. So it makes me want the house even more, just to know the history of the house.
And to just watch it be transformed and just absolutely more beautiful than it ever has been. It's got to be the shining star of East Durham right now.
When you come around that corner and you look and see this house, it's like the words are, it's just a feeling that's unbelievable that I get on the inside, because the home is so beautiful.
They somewhere stable, their own room, their own space, daddy, child, under the same roof, our own little nest.